Hello and welcome to the Evolving Show. My name is Storm Enrich. I'm an author, self-empowerment expert, journalist by profession, and survivor by experience. A new episode of the Evolving Show comes out every week. Subscribe so you don't miss the episode that will make a difference in your life. This week's topic: how to overcome self-doubt and impostor syndrome. If you feel like a fraud and worry that your weakness or incompetence might be exposed, or if you are easily intimidated by a challenge, if you feel like you are forced to pretend that you are someone else because you are not good enough, if you feel you don't deserve the stuff you got, well, you suffer from excessive self-doubt that messes up your view of reality. The main difference between happy and unhappy people is that some have a correct perception of themselves and some don't. The one aspect of a human being that's most vulnerable to injury and manipulation is self-image. Since self-image is the very foundation of self-esteem, assertiveness, as well as the ability to achieve, compete, succeed, and so on, verifying and, if necessary, healing, developing, or regenerating your self-image after getting rid of excessive self-doubt is the most important step you can take toward turning a frustrating life into a gratifying one. Normal, healthy self-doubt is constructive. It serves as one of our many self-preservation tools. Whenever we are not sure of one of our skills, the ability to cook a particular dish, for instance, this doubt motivates and supports us. For the sake of the example, whenever we doubt our cooking skills, we are motivated to reach for a cookbook. By adhering to its directions, we'll be guaranteeing ourselves a successful outcome, right? That's what happens when self-doubt is constructive. Excessive self-doubt, however, is a different story altogether. Instead of motivating and protecting, it paralyzes and discourages. People who doubt themselves fall in two categories. Some hide from life's challenges in anticipation of a certain failure. Others fearlessly take on the world and succeed, but can't embrace their success. They live in constant fear of being found out as incompetent and undeserving. This level of self-doubt isn't normal. As human beings, we all have some self-doubt. Our individual abilities vary, and let's face it, knowing it generates the warning signs of healthy self-doubt and compels us to better ourselves. Excessive, paralyzing self-doubt rarely applies to a specific ability. It tends to affect the whole of a person. What to do if the signs you are getting don't motivate you to reach for a cookbook, so to speak, but make you question your overall value? Verify whether the signals are in fact correct. Take the time. Stop building sandcastles. And for once, afford yourself the luxury of building solid, building durable. Make the one-time investment in you, in the rest of your life. This one-time effort, one-time commitment will determine the quality of the life you pursue and accept. Do you know of a better investment? Memories, and profound experiences even more so, are filled with emotions. Emotions have a way of distorting reality. We tend to focus on our feelings to the detriment of facts. We remember our feelings better than the actual event that scarred us for life. That's why re-examining the event that caused your excessive self-doubt from today's perspective can be a revelation. and can be liberating. Emotions put the focus on you and your experience. But you were not alone. Being alone doesn't cause emotional damage. There is a lot more to your trauma than your feelings about it. There are circumstances and at least one other party. Whoever wounded you did so in a context. If you've done wrong, you also did it in a context. The context and actions of the parties involved deserve another look. In some cases, your reactions may justify another look as well. You might be surprised by the clarity and often a brand new understanding of the trauma such an examination may reveal. Let's not beat around the bush. Here is my story of guilt, shame, failure, chronic self-doubt, and eventually redemption. As a child and a teenager, I was a prodigy. The number one in my grade. The number one in my school. The number one in all my extracurricular pursuits. Long story short, I was a winner in everything I did and everything I tried. I was capable. I had solid self-esteem. I was self-confident. I had a strong faith in myself and my abilities. When I was 16, a close relative of mine presented me with a challenge. I was hesitant. The relative insisted. I didn't want to disappoint her. I tried to overcome my reservations, and I failed miserably. For the first time in my life, I had to face failure. I was ashamed. I was hurting. The dearest and nearest began looking at me differently. They doubted me, and so did I. At 16, I lost faith in myself. I lost my courage and competitiveness. I largely stopped daring. Having experienced a very painful failure, the teenager in me concluded that not taking risks and not reaching for the stars is safer than failing. Actually, anything seemed safer than risking another failure. My self-image changed drastically. I tried hard to be mediocre and avoided taking chances. I never since seen myself as capable, leave alone invincible. Along with my self-esteem and self-confidence, gone were my big dreams. I figured that lower branches, less visibility, and less activity are safer. And from then on, I second-guessed my choices and was permanently tormented by self-doubt. Decades passed. Life got busy. I never reclaimed my wholeness. I suffered, and the past failure affected me most of my life. Heck, it shaped it. Then I became very ill and had to put up with a lengthy recovery. The illness and recovery afforded me time to re-examine my greatest trauma. At that time, I was a mature adult. As it turns out, maturity changes both perspective and perception. I started by describing the event that caused my trauma. I looked at the description. It was unremarkable. I put it aside, but the thought of it bothered me. Then out of nowhere, a thought came to my mind. Was it appropriate to present a sheltered 16-year-old with an adult-sized challenge? Why would a grown-up delegate a difficult adult task to a teen? And finally, the big one. Would I vest a 16-year-old with a comparable task today? My answers astounded me. They made me wonder whether I failed at all. Or was I set up to fail and break my sterling record of success? Is the burden that derailed my life mine to carry? Is my self-doubt justified? When I looked at the cause of my decades-long trauma from today's perspective, I realized that even though I am the one who failed, the failure wasn't mine. A kid shouldn't be used to solve an adult's problem. The losses I sustained changed the trajectory of my life. I shouldn't have lost faith in myself, my self-confidence, my courage, and my competitive edge. Bottom line, I lived most of my life as less than because someone used me to avoid her responsibility. Tough luck. But now that I understand that my life until now was penance for someone else's mistake, I'm free. I'm still here. I healed. And I'm whole again. There is no reason why I shouldn't believe in myself and be self-confident, courageous, competitive, or daring. I had to relearn and restore this or that, but I don't carry the burden of guilt, shame, failure, or self-doubt anymore. I know. Your experience was entirely different, right? Guess what? The cure for your unique trauma is quite similar. To address your specific cause of self-doubt, you need to perform a few tasks. The tasks vary depending on your specifics, but the most important are to unemotionally describe the event, to unemotionally examine the circumstances, the situation, to unemotionally examine the power differential between the participants, to unemotionally ask whether the actions of the wrongdoer, yours or someone else's, were normal, ethical, or socially acceptable. Once you see your responses, evaluate the damage that's been done. Heal the damage. Reevaluate your current self-image. Learn or relearn how to be the person you were before your self-doubt set in. Enhance your life skills. Live your truth with yourself and others. There is power on the other side of excessive self-doubt. It isn't given. You have to take it yourself.